There is a new election commissioner in town. His name is Anup Chandra Pandey, and this appointment last week caused quite a bit of a stir. You see, Anup Chandra Pandey had previously served as the chief secretary to Yogi Adityanath, who is the current chief minister of Uttar Pradesh. And this gigantic state is heading towards an election next year in March. This brings up a few questions about the fairness of the upcoming high stakes elections and what the election commissioner might or might not do. Well, to give advantages to certain players. So, in this video, let's talk about that. Who is Anup Chandra Pandey? What can an election commissioner do during election season? And how is the election commissioner appointed anyway? Before we begin, throughout this video, you will see this word, conjecture, show up on the screen in a few places. That's because some of the things I'm about to say are exactly that, conjecture. Oh, by the way, here is the dictionary meaning of conjecture. I'll wait. No, read it. No, I'll wait. Read it first. I just want you to know that when I do that is when this shows up. Right. First up, Pandey is a retired IAS officer of 1984 batch of the Uttar Pradesh cadre. He has served as the Joint Secretary in the Union Ministry of Labour and Employment and also the Infrastructure and Industrial Development Commissioner of Uttar Pradesh. In June 2018, he was appointed as the Chief Secretary to the current Chief Minister, Yogi Adityanath. He served in that position till August 2019. Now, Pandey was handpicked by Yogi Adityanath in June 2018 and was slated to retire in February of 2019. But the central government gave him an extension till August 2019. When asking for this extension, the Uttar Pradesh government said that the Kumbh Mela and Lok Sabha elections are coming up. So, a change in the bureaucracy at such a crucial time would affect the administration. While he was the chief secretary, Anup Chandra Pandey made some very interesting moves. Let me quickly run you through a few of them. Between March 2017 and July 2018, the first 16 months of the Yogi Adityanath government in Uttar Pradesh, the state police recorded over 3,000 encounters. 78 criminals were reportedly killed in these encounters. After Pandey took over, one of his most infamous acts was writing a letter to district magistrates asking them to highlight police encounters and killings as a part of the government's achievements. There have been doubts raised about how these encounters happened and how they were conducted. Even the Supreme Court stepped in and asked the Yogi Adityanath government to explain the reasons behind these encounters. The UP government responded that the police acted in self-defense when attacked with firearms or lethal weapons. The UP government was also questioned about why a large chunk of these encounters were those of Muslims. Just to give you an idea of the total number of people killed in encounters in Uttar Pradesh between 2017 and 2020, 37% have been Muslim. This is disproportionately large for a state that has 19% Muslim population. Other than justifying these encounters and actually highlighting them as achievements, Anup Chandra Pandey has done other things as well. He was leading Yogi Adityanath's team of elite bureaucrats that would help him deliver on promises in the run-up to the 2019 elections. Adityanath had also appointed Sanjeev Mittal, Prabhat Kumar and Mukul Singhal, all of whom had a reputation for being no-nonsense babus. Now, Pandeyji is going to be our election commissioner. And one of the first major things he'll have to oversee is the state elections coming up early next year for Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Uttarakhand, Goa and Manipur, all between February and March. I don't know about you, but I see conflict of interest written all over the place. I mean, he's literally the guy who handled government work before the last major election that was seen in Uttar Pradesh, the 2019 general elections. And we all know how the Uttar Pradesh elections are super high stakes for all parties entering the fray. Before we get to more conjecture about this, let me quickly tell you how the election commissioner is appointed and what they are supposed to do. The Election Commission of India is a permanent constitutional body which was established in 1950. Originally, the commission had only one singular chief election commissioner. Currently, it consists of the chief election commissioner and two election commissioners. Sushil Chandra is our current CEC. while Anup Chandra Pandey and Rajiv Kumar are election commissioners. The president appoints the CEC and EC. They have a fixed tenure of 6 years or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. They enjoy the same status as the judges of the Supreme Court of India. All election commissions have an equal say in the decision making of the commission. Plus, and this is important, the election commissioners can be removed from office only through impeachment by parliament. Now, the election commission headed by these three men is responsible for holding free and fair elections in the country. The election commission decides the election schedules for the conduct of elections, location of polling stations, assignment of voters to each polling station, location of counting centers, arrangements to be made in and around polling stations and counting centers, and all allied matters. The commission has the power to also disqualify a candidate for discrepancies in the nomination process and undo disqualifications as well. Additionally, the EC is responsible for the implementation of the model code of conduct before polling begins, meaning the places going for elections are put in a state of a suspended animation of sorts where the EC monitors whether campaigning is happening lawfully. If anyone is found violating the law, they are given notices, suspended, and in extreme cases, disqualified. Matlab, काफी powerful body in case you didn't notice already. Now, allow me to go into conjecture territory and paint a picture for you. A certain giant state is holding its election with a ton of citizens voting to elect the best candidates. Here, the election commission might decide that the election be conducted in many phases, elongating the schedule and extending campaign time. Big parties with loads of money will be able to conduct effective campaigns over these long periods, while smaller parties with less money will be spread thin and they will wither away. The election commissioner might distribute the places going for elections to favor a certain party. For example, in the first few phases, all places which are stronghold areas of party A might vote. The campaign can be geared towards that. Star campaigners with their busy schedules will descend upon the state in one go to focus on these phases. The entire campaign plan can be made to align with the phases. The election commission can also decide the order in which the constituencies can go to vote. For example, places that are strongholds of party A can go for polls in the first few phases and also save them a lot of effort and money in the later phases, while party B can be made to campaign for all phases, spreading them thin. The election commission might also split one district into 4 parts, where each part goes to vote in different phases. Why? Because it might be a stronghold for party B and a divided voting schedule would weaken their campaign. The party B candidates will have to keep shuttling between this broken district and other faraway places where they have to campaign, making their lives difficult. And finally, we come to the model code of conduct. The election commissioner can have an ultra-selective approach towards the candidates. They can pull up candidates of party B for violations, put them in suspension while allowing those from party A to campaign freely as they want. Say whatever, do whatever, a total free run for party A, I guess. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that any of this will happen next year, but I'm also not saying that it will not happen. Double negatives, irritating, I know. But this is conjecture, remember? Even the possibility of this happening is quite scary. This is why the election commission needs to be independent, free of conflict of interest, and disconnected from political parties and people. Uttar Pradesh is a massively high stakes elections given its size and say in electoral politics. All parties will be pulling up their socks and preparing to fight this battle. In such a situation, some might even try to bend the rules a little bit to ensure victory. By the way, we can call out parties and people in power because you fund our journalism. We don't depend on any ads, so you can rest assured that when I say we'll keep a close watch, you can trust us to do exactly that. And in a way that would benefit you. So yes, fellow citizens, go to newslaundry.com and subscribe already. Pay to keep news free.